On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the Thunder are already seeing a step forward from a very important young piece.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, media member, and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LO Thunderpod. On today's show, brought to you by Game Time. Go download the Game Time app today, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. We're diving into the fifth preseason game for the Thunder, ranking the Thunder roster before the season tips off. We're going to dive into SGA's performance, Cason Wallace taking a step forward, but we're going to continue to preview this season. I'm going to give you a 1 through 18 ranking of this Thunder roster. You everydayers that listen to the show every morning, we're here for you talking Thunder basketball. I hope more of you become everydayers. We're here for you Monday through Friday with the daily show. We're after every single game, including weekends. And we have Locked On Thunder Live with myself and Derek Parker Monday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Time on the Locked On Thunder YouTube channel, and also uploaded for you to enjoy on the audio feed of your choice after the fact. This was preseason game number 5. And we always talk about the grueling nature of an 82-game season, arguably more grueling on podcasters, a 6-game preseason slate. This continues into Friday, where the Thunder and Nuggets do battle in a game in which you wonder who's going to play. Not just for the obvious preseason factor, but is there going to be some gamesmanship of not wanting to show each other any personnel in that final preseason game? This game against Milwaukee, it got interesting 24 hours before tip-off, because the Thunder social media team starts to put out there who's all traveling to the game. And with no official injury reports in the preseason, we're left in the dark. We don't find out who's going to play until the starting lineups are released, or if we're lucky, someone tweets out Mark's quote pregame about who's going to play, which didn't happen tonight. So, with Shai there and Chet there and the whole gang there, felt like we were in store for a big one on Peacock. And we were. Shai played. Cason played. Lou played. Caruso played. Isaiah Hartenstein played. No Chet, no J-Dub, no AJ, no J-Will, no Isaiah Joe. Like, some of the guys still didn't play, but at least you got to see some of the big names for Oklahoma City on Peacock. What a presentation, by the way, from Peacock. Second preseason game. First one was Bulls and Cavs. That was also a great presentation, but the broadcast ran smooth, and the presentation of the scoreboard and the quality of the broadcast, everything was great from that side of things on Peacock. But what was even better was SGA's performance. I don't know how he does it. He's played in 2 preseason games now, and one half of each, so technically one full game, really. And after having just played in the biggest stage of his life at the NBA Finals in June, he comes back a few short months later, no rest at all. And I had some of the best plays of the night when you try to envision what that next step for Shai can be. Because I've told you all summer, I don't know what that next step for Shai can be, but I'm not going to put him in a box again, because we've spent the last 5 summers trying to limit his ceiling, and yet every single season he comes back better than before. From fringe all-star to true all-star to all-star starter to top 5 MVP to runner-up MVP to MVP, and along the way, adding things to his game that allow him to achieve those accolades. And in the first 2 preseason games, keep in mind it's preseason, it's against the Hornets and the Bucks, and it's one half each. He showed some things that, if they're sustainable and if they carry to the regular season, can make his game look just different enough to consider him improved again. And certainly, no matter what you think of his individual improvement, will improve this team as a whole. Against Charlotte, it was the come down the floor, get a high ball screen from Isaiah Hartenstein, knock down an off the dribble jumper. It was the behind the back bounce pass to Lou Dort for 3. In this game, similar stuff. He had a great drive, gets to the baseline, bounce pass over to Caruso for a corner three. Looking for that pass, throwing that pass on a bounce across the baseline to the corner for Alex Caruso is an adventurous pass. It's a next level read, and it's stuff that, while elite playmakers can make that pass in the NBA, it's stuff that we haven't seen Shai truly add to his game. While he's gotten better as a playmaker, it's been a lot of one-read stuff. It's been a lot of simplicity with his passing. He's gotten more adventurous this preseason. And that is largely what preseason is for. But when you couple this information, and one of his turnovers tonight were because he was trying to make a cross-court pass that he typically doesn't try, and yet he still only had 2 turnovers. But, one of the things that makes this feel like it's significant, that makes this feel real, is that last season, throughout the regular season, he was a better passer. And particularly in the postseason, you can remember some of Shai's best passes ever. The behind-the-head pass to Lou Dort against Memphis, the between-the-legs pass to set up a bucket against Minnesota. And so he just continues to build on this skill set to the point where you feel really good about Shai getting out of dicey situations with his passing. And that comes in handy for Shai in particular with how defenses then have to guard him. Because you saw it tonight. Shai had AJ Green, poor AJ Green, by the way. He had AJ Green on the baseline, and Bobby Portis Jr. kept trying to shade over towards Shai, thinking about doubling him, bouncing back in the paint. He thought about doubling him, bounces back in the paint. If Bobby commits to that double, Shai now has an ability to make a next level pass to make you pay for double teaming him. And if you don't shade over and you don't commit to the double team, which the Bucks did not, it's one pump fake on the baseline. AJ Green goes in the air and one for SGA on his signature move. So the passing not only helps Shai individually, helps the team at large. Tonight, he also knocked down a catch and shoot 3. And if you're keeping track at home, he's had a catch and shoot 3 in each of the first 2 preseason games without playing next to J-Dub yet. So it makes you wonder, are they going to try to have Shai off the ball in certain sets, in certain moments of games, and utilize this part of his game before? Because one of the sneakier things about Shai that we've talked about on the show, he's a quality catch and shoot 3-point shooter, but it's on extremely low volume because the ball's always in his hands, because the ball always has to be in his hands. But when you see it the first 2 games, and you hear Mark Daigneault talk about it in training camp, of some of the lineups whenever Topic was playing in training camp included Topic and Shai on the same team, and having Shai work off the ball a little bit. And you can imagine that with J-Dub's ascension as a scorer, there's going to be moments where Shai's off the ball next to J-Dub. Heck, Shai was off the ball tonight and on Thursday alongside Cason and Lou. And so you quickly think, well, maybe this Thunder offense, which at times last year stalled, at times last year labored, but was covered up by how great they were defensively, how great they were in transition, maybe this offense as a whole can take another step forward. And tonight, Shai just did Shai things. I mean, there's nothing else left to label it as. He's just purely elite. He's just purely one of the best that you've seen. Now, it's up to him to continue the stretch, right? Because, to be an all-time great, it's largely about longevity. But if you're just putting what Shai does into a vacuum of a couple seasons, he's one of the best scorers you've seen. 23 points and a half tonight in 20 minutes. 2 rebounds, 6 assists for SGA and a half without his full-fledged roster. Now, he had most of his guys. Didn't have all of his guys, though. 6 assists. 3 steals and a block. Now, look, I think that Shai, let's not get this confused. Shai is a good defender as far as, and really as far as superstars go, and guys who have his uses offensively, he can be considered a great defender in that role, because a lot of guys can only do it on one end, but he has the motor to do it on both ends. But Shai's also helped out, and the reason why I personally wouldn't vote for Shai all-defensive team, or I personally wouldn't vote for Shai, of course, for Defensive Player of the Year, even though he does get votes each season, is because Shai's doing it primarily as an off-the-ball guy, as a help-side defender, and he's able to generate some of these stats because he stays engaged in games, because he has the motor to be engaged in games on both ends, which most stars don't, and because he's savvy enough to understand where the ball's going to go. which is all great, which is all fantastic skills. And those skills mesh so well with the roster that they've created around him. And his skills on both ends mesh so well with the roster that the Thunder have created around him. And that's important to highlight even tonight in the preseason, is to take a step back before we get into a stressful season, honestly. Like a lot of you everydayers really care if they can buck this trend of parity and want to see them win more and want to see them win more. And with more and more and more, the target growing on your back, each loss will feel mounting. However many that they might lose this season, they're going to lose at least one. But the thing about it is, you take a step back and appreciate how what I just said is pure facts. It's an undeniable fact that this roster complements each other very well. And how many superstars, and we're talking superstars, throughout the course of NBA history, have had rosters in which you look at them and go, man, they don't have a lot of help. Man, they don't complement their skills very well. They can't play off of each other very well. That's not the case with this team. Part of that's on everyone being so versatile, including Shai. Part of that's on the front office. All of it together, you get this harmonious group that has already won a championship, despite being too young, despite being unproven, despite not being tested, has got all their guys back and all those guys still improving, and is now on the verge of what should be a dynasty. And is now on the verge of what will absolutely be another half-decade stretch of contention. And they've done that in one of the smallest markets in the league and in one of the markets in which you don't have any luxuries afforded to you. Not in free agency, not in the CBAs, not in state taxes. It's pretty impressive what they've done. And tonight was another small, realization of that and appreciation of that. But that was Shai's night. Shai was spectacular, but he also got to play next to Isaiah Hartenstein, who came out there with grown man strength, so much so the rim almost came down upon him. And Cason Wallace, who I think has taken a step forward. We'll talk about that coming up. But first, I want to tell you right now, my good friends over at Monarch Money, folks, go check out Monarch Money. It's incredible. Most people, they can't even give you the names of all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks or properties or investments. When you don't have the full picture, you end up leaving money on the table, and that's why you need Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. So you can, if you've been putting off organizing your finances, that's why Monarch Money is here. Monarch Money does the heavy lifting for you. You can link your accounts in minutes, see clear-cut data visuals, get smart categorizations of your spending, and feel like you're in complete control of your money because you are, without ever touching a spreadsheet. I'm not a math pod. I'm not a math guy. It's embarrassing how much I don't know math, but it's true. And Monarch Money helps me out. Terrible at spreadsheets, Monarch Money helps me out. And the biggest thing I love about Monarch Money, I love the fact that they break down what you're spending and where. How much am I truly spending on coffee? Should I just get a coffee pot and make it at home? How much am I spending on subscription services, especially with the modern NBA? Do I really need all these subscription services? What can I cut out to save a buck or two? Go check it out today at Monarch Money. Make sure you go there today because you cannot let financial opportunity slip through the crack. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com on your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA. Speaking of the NBA, game time. It's back. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for the opening games, especially the opening game in Oklahoma City. Ring night, banner night, KD in town. You're going to want to be there. Let's get real. Getting tickets, though, a total headache usually. Between waiting in queues, between surprise fees, between the prices jumping right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when you're trying to go cheer on your team and go experience a historic occasion in Oklahoma City on opening night. That's where Game Time comes into your life. The app gives you the full advantage. That way, it's the ultimate life hack for you to score NBA tickets faster, easier, and completely stress-free. Game Time is great because they not only will grade your ticket price of telling you how great of a deal it is, but there's no hidden fees at checkout. The price you see, the price you pay. You can even find NBA tickets right now today for this season, this historic Thunder season, trying to defend their title for under $25. Go check them out today. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets at Game Time right now by downloading the Game Time app today, creating your account, using code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Go and swipe, tap, and ticket today. It's swipe, tap, tick, go at NBA, Locked On NBA on the code for Game Time. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Thunder basketball, like tonight, talking Milwaukee Bucks Thunder Peacock preseason. Isaiah Hartenstein, our long national nightmare is over. Isaiah Hartenstein has hit a 3. Now, this was just the preseason, but he did hit a 3 after last year going over. That's fun. But listen, despite his ability to launch these triples in the preseason, do not expect him to do the same in the regular season. He went 1 for 2 tonight from 3. He went 0 for 2 last Thursday in his preseason debut, in addition to a foot on the line long 2, which was as far as a 3, and people had for a moment thought that was his first 3 that he hit. But despite the fact he's taken 4 threes in 2 games, and if you really do the math, like he's done 4 threes in 1 game in terms of minute logged and usage that he's had so far in the preseason, despite that being the case, I still don't believe this is a part of his game. And I know Cason Wallace at halftime said he's been working on it all summer. I don't question the fact that he works on it. As a matter of fact, I see him working on threes in practice at shoot-arounds, but in real games, in the regular season, I don't think it'll be there. You know, there's an old saying in Tennessee, probably in Oklahoma City too. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't get fooled again. We heard about it all last year that this was going to be a part of his game. But when you really deconstruct the threes that he's hit in his NBA career, they've all been very similar. It's been late in shot clocks. It's been at the end of blowouts. It's not been through the course of an offense. It's not been as a primary option. And part of the reason why is because Isaiah Hartenstein is the rare big man who, without shooting a 3, can still space the floor in the high post, with his playmaking, with his ability to receive the ball at the high post, take 1 dribble in, and knock down that floater. So Isaiah Hartenstein doesn't need to have a 3-point shot. And if you really get into the nitty-gritty of why I don't think that this 3-point shot will be a coming-of-age story for Isaiah Hartenstein this season, is you tell me when he's going to shoot 3s. You tell me the path to Isaiah Hartenstein shooting 3s. It's just not there. This team is too talented. He's too talented as a passer to where, unless it falls under the previous category of late in the shot clock, got to get something up, or it's a blowout game, who cares? Unless it falls into those 2 categories, there's always going to be something better available because of how good this team is. It's fun to think about. It's fun to imagine. It's fun to see in preseason. And I possibly could eat crow on this. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But I don't think that the 3-point shot will be there for Isaiah Hartenstein. But what is there? His elite level passing is there. And tonight, did he show physicality in the paint? I mean, he dismisses the Nomer that he's gotten bigger this offseason and bulkier this offseason. His play on the court, though, it was physical tonight. He slammed it down so hard that the rim dislodged, and they had to delay the second half to reset the rim. Going over the top on these alley-oops, getting into the paint ferociously on both ends, mixing it up on the glass, and also patrolling the paint with 2 blocks. Had that baby hook shot and that floater working tonight for him. This has been a really strong preseason for Isaiah Hartenstein through 2 halves. And we'll see if he plays on Friday. But Cason Wallace, he's played a lot this preseason, considering his role, right? He's played more than the other regulars. And you sit back and wonder, is this the leap from him? Was tonight the leap? Because the passing really popped. And he did it in a transferable role. And as you can tell through this podcast, the way that I view the preseason is not what they're actually doing on the court. It's how sustainable is it that they're doing on the court. Like with Cason, if he was out there playing point guard like he was in Dickies Arena, it wouldn't really move me too much. But the 8 assists that he had tonight, 8 assists, primarily came off the catch. Primarily came with him being proactive and the defense being reactive to what he's doing and him exploiting them for it. And him keeping the ball fizzing around the court and finding the right man. And that's something that you saw a little bit of last year, and you want to see more of this year. And I think that he can do it. 8 assists, and goodness gracious, 5 steals for Cason Wallace, including a pick 6 that looked like Ed Reed, which shout out to Mark for comparing him to Ed Reed a few summers ago. But 5 steals, a couple rebounds, 9 points. He was 1 for 4 from the 3-point line. You'd like to see him make more clearly, but 1 for 4 from the 3-point line. What a lockdown defender, though. I mean, this guy is tenacious. He plays inside your shirt. He is glued to you. And there were a few possessions in that first half where both teams were going as hard as they were for that NBA Cup trophy. And Cason Wallace delivered defensively. And that's really the thing about this Thunder preseason, is that their defense hasn't missed a beat, and they've been engaged defensively. Like the guys who are going to make this team and the guys who are going to play in the rotation have been more than engaged defensively and have more than produced defensively. To where if you had any concern of how can they follow up last year, of how can they really get motivated to play defense again with that level of intensity, folks, they're doing it against Charlotte and Milwaukee in the preseason. That's just the core identity of this team. And this is the version of them scaled back for the preseason. So this Thunder team is really a team designed for real basketball. And you're going to see this defense really shine and be great and elite and top of the league again once we tip it off next Tuesday. Brooks Barnhizer, welcome to the 7th ring of Satan's place whenever you face off with Brooks Barnhizer. Suffocating on the defensive end. Couple steals for him. 12 rebounds for Brooks Barnhizer. You look at what he can do defensively to disrupt, bog down, and outright take away possessions with his ability to get deflections, tip passes, knock the ball out of the shooter's hand, force you to regroup offensively. The shot clock's dwindling down. What are you going to do? Get a bad shot off, and it's just over for you? Or outright take it away, be via himself or someone else grabbing the loose ball in Thunder Blue. And he fits the identity of this team perfectly on that end. His versatility defensively and willingness to mix it up, even to defend Giannis in the post if he gets stuck out there, which is obviously not an ideal scenario, but he doesn't shy away from it. He doesn't just let him on by and olay Giannis to the hoop. Like, he sticks his nose into things. The Thunder talk a lot about force and wanting young players to play with force on both ends. Force will never be brought up with Brooks Barnhizer in any vein other than it's great. Because he's already got that in him. He's already got that aggression in him. He's one of these guys that plays bigger than he is. Like Brooks Barnhizer, I don't care if it's preseason, summer league, the G League, the NBA Finals. The makeup of Brooks Barnhizer physically should not have 12 rebounds against anybody that is of NBA caliber. And yet, he figures out a way to do it. We highlighted a play last Thursday where he's the one who's boxing out Plumlee, an NBA veteran big man, pushing him out of the lane and letting Isaiah Hartenstein fly in for a rebound of his own. That physicality can't be taught. You either have that fortitude or you don't. You either have that level of wanting to make a play or you don't. And Brooks Barnhizer has it. I'm really interested what his role is going to be. Look, he went 1 for 4 today from 3 after running into a 2 for 2 night the other day. That's going to be the story of Brooks for offensively from 3. His 3-point shot is at a point where he's only going to be out there for 5 to 15 minutes a night, somewhere in that range. And perhaps this is the night where he runs into a couple threes. Perhaps this is the night where he doesn't. But because of his defense and because of his transition, you live with it. You just do. In transition, he's been brilliant in 2-on-1 situations, getting assists. He's also, tonight, shown that force again to just barrel his way to the rim, force you to foul him, and give him 2 free throws. And free throws are free. And they're easy points. So you got to love what you've seen from Brooks Barnheiser. Caruso and Dort were Caruso and Dort. Lou got the 3 going today. Caruso with that corner 3. They both played stellar defense. Oos flashed at the very end of the game. Not a complete game from him, but credit to him for flashing at the end of the game and getting the Thunder this preseason win. Coming up, let's rank this Thunder roster today. But first, I want to tell you right now, my good friends over at FanDuel, go check out FanDuel today because FanDuel is incredible, folks. You're going to want to see what they're cooking up. It's the NFL season. FanDuel is here to offer you this can't-miss deal. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, you put down $5. If it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You can also not just use it on the NFL, but the NBA. Thunder opening night, 8.5-point favorites over Houston. And if you want to use it on the NFL, I would encourage you to do so, especially if it's a primetime game and perhaps your team's not playing in it, but you still want to watch, you still want to be engaged in the game. This can make life so much more interesting whenever you're watching basketball games, football games, any sporting event. Again, new customers, put down $5. You get $300 if it hits. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com today. Go download the app and get started at FanDuel, where you can bet on the spreads, player props, over-unders. You can bet already on who's going to win the NBA championship, who's going to be the MVP, all at FanDuel.com. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day, as we continue our season preview. Folks, we've got another loaded week at Locked On Thunder. We've went through the superlatives for this team on Monday. We went through the ceiling for other Western Conference teams that will face the Thunder on Tuesday. We've recapped this Milwaukee Bucks game so far on Wednesday, and now we're going to rank the roster. And then Thursday and Friday, season previews with Andrew Schlecht of The Athletic, Joe Mazzato of The Oklahoman. And oh yeah, Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, Locked On Thunder Live with Derek Parker, where we're going to hand out the biggest storylines to watch for both the Thunder and the NBA. So plenty for you to get to this week to get ready for next week's season opener and another jam-packed week. Next week, it's going to be a lot of fun. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast from and listen every single day. I appreciate you everydayers already who do that and hope more of you become everydayers. The roster rankings for this season. I've split this up into 4 categories for this upcoming season. And these are subject to change. This is where we're starting out for the season. I think the starting lineup for the Thunder to start the year will be SGA, J-Dub, Chet, iHeart, Lou. Those 5 will be on the court as the primary starters at the start of the season, and I think that starting lineup will likely last all year long. Perhaps Cason Wallace can be in the starting lineup, and it makes Chet be able to play the solo 5 where he's better offensively, and you stagger in the double big stuff. But overall, I think that those are your 5 best guys in your starting lineup, and we're going to see how that takes off this season. And then it gets to a spot in the rotation. This is the next category. Alex Caruso, right now, is your best rotational player. Now, this is not something that will change in my mind. And this is more so geared toward how would you rank the roster in a must-win game? Clearly, right? Not every regular season game is a must-win game. Even last year, the Thunder, as Caruso would put it, saved him from himself by holding him out of regular season games. But if you're ranking this roster to go win a basketball game, Alex Caruso's that guy. He is an elite defender, a versatile defender, and he's the guy you trust the most to go knock down a triple and be a play finisher on this roster. So I've got Alex Caruso at 6. At 7, I've got Cason Wallace, another elite defender, a guy who I'm banking on will improve from 3 this season. And we saw his passing chops. How does he develop? I think that Cason Wallace is already there as your number 7 guy. For now, I'll have Aaron Wiggins at 8 because Aaron Wiggins is at least your 3rd best shot creator. He's at least a bucket getter for this team. But I think that what's possible to flip-flop him and AJ and have AJ be in the top 8. That was my bold prediction all summer, is that by the end of the season, and that was the key, end of the season, by the end of the season, when we do these rankings again, AJ will be at 8. I don't know that Wiggins will progress enough defensively against forwards to keep him in this spot. And the value of AJ Mitchell and what he can do, who's obviously at 9 for me as we talk about AJ Mitchell now. AJ Mitchell, who can be a great playmaker for the secondary unit, who can complement Jada off the ball in that lineup, who can get down a hill, who can shoot from 3 off the dribble and off the catch, who can get to the free throw line, who can stand in defensively and be a solid defender. I really value what AJ Mitchell can do. At 10, I have Isaiah Joe, your best 3-point shooter under contract, and a guy who has to take a step forward in the biggest moments, and I think has to sort of reimagine how his 3-point shots can come in the postseason as a more movement shooter, something he's worked on this preseason, something that he's going to have to continue to work on throughout the regular season. But Isaiah Joe is very valuable as an offensive weapon for this team when it comes to 3-point shooting. And then at 11, your backup big man, Jay Will. And Jay Will has potential to move up these rankings just on the sense of if his development is real, and if you feel really good about Jay Will being a true backup 5, not a third string big, but a true backup 5, and you want to play him against every matchup. Because right now, you just saw the playoffs play out. And he was only used and deployed against Denver. Like, Denver was his matchup. Didn't get a ton of burn in the next 2 series. If he can change that and he becomes a player that's complete with his 3-point shot, with his ability to get to the rim if they start to run him off the line because he's dropped some weight, and with his athleticism being better defensively, if he can get to a true guy that can play in any matchup, even those that aren't jumbo size lineups, then the reason he could move up would be at that point, it allows you to run your starters with double bigs more often because you're not scrambling to stagger them off the floor and protect your center depth. But for now, Jay Will's your backup big in the rotational standpoint. He's your third string big in the roster standpoint, and he's at 11. And the Thunder typically go 11 deep a night, sometimes 12, sometimes 13, but you can count on 10 to 11 every night from the Thunder. And so that's my top 11. Now we move into what I call the depth category. And these will be guys who Mark finds a way to put on the court, but they're not guaranteed anything. They're not guaranteed any role, any minutes. But they're going to find minutes, and they're going to play these guys, and these guys have a certain je ne sais quoi in the regular season. And the top of that list is Nikola Topic. And he can be the biggest riser out of anybody. Because if Nikola Topic is good when he returns, and he is who he is, like billed as, and he is the second at worst best playmaker on this team and passer on this team, and he gets to the rim at the clip we saw him do it in Summer League to allow him to score some, and it's not a clunky fit coming off the bench next to Shai at the end of quarters or Jade up at the start of quarters, then he can catapult his way to the top 10 of this rotation. But for now, he's at 12. He's a depth piece, and he's not someone who I think will play every single game when he's healthy, but he's someone who the Thunder will prioritize in getting some run for, in my mind. At 13, I have Brooks Barnhizer. And you might ask, why do I have Brooks Barnhizer above Kenrich Williams? Well, think about what Kenrich Williams provides this team in reality. He's a guy who is a veteran presence in the locker room, and he grabs you by the shirt collar and gets you lined out, as Mark would say. But on the court, he's a guy who is an energy giver. You know he can spark a play. You know he can spark intensity. And you know he's going to be in the right spots offensively and be gritty down low despite being undersized. And he does have the three-point edge over Brooks Barnhizer. But Brooks Barnhizer is a much better defender. He brings some of that juice and energy that Kenrich brings. And while Kenrich is a better three-point shooter, I would say that they're going to want to look at the young guy. Because we've seen time and time again, like them not prioritize just shoveling minutes to Kenrich Williams because of his age, because honestly, he's a rare player. Like, an underrated part of Kenrich Williams is he can be a DNP for 2 weeks. And then on that 15th day, you throw him in and let him play 20 minutes, and he's going to be very, very, very good and very solid for what he is as a rotational piece in the NBA. And that skill set bumps him down this list, in part because I think that his biggest strength being that Energizer Bunny and an intensity sparker, so kind of the spark plug and the pilot light of your water heater, can be taken by Brooks Barnhizer. And then at 15th, you have Brandon Carlson. Fourth big, that they could get in a spot where it's a 3-game and 4-night stretch, and you need to get some rest for Chet or for iHeart or for J Will, and you throw him in there and you feel comfortable because he can shoot from 3, he can protect the paint as a rim protector, shot blocker. But overall, you're not racing to put Brendan Carlson into the game. That's my top 15 for this team. And we move on to our last category, which is the break glass in case of emergency, which is almost like the last resort. Injuries pile up, or it's a second night of a back-to-back, and guys are sitting, and you got to throw Loose out there. You got to throw your third two-way guy in there, which I hope the third two-way guy is Chris Youngblood, but we don't know who that is, so it's just called the third two-way spot at number 17 for me. But this is kind of not someone that is going to be prioritized to play NBA minutes in the regular season. And as a quick note, the reason why it's 1 through 17 and not 1 through 18, as you remember, Thomas Schwarber is on a standard contract, but he's out for the whole season with an ACL tear. The biggest possible movers to me, the short list of movers that I could see happening, Nikola Topic, he can skyrocket if he proves it on the court. AJ Mitchell, who I've predicted will be in the top 8 of this rotation once it's all said and done, he can be a riser. Brooks Barnhizer, he could be a riser up this list. And then you wonder, could Cason Wallace crack the starting 5? I don't know that he can or can't. I think that the lineup of Chet at the 5 and Cason in place of iHeart will be really good, but we don't know yet. But those are my possible movers. Everyone else, I feel pretty comfortable with where they're at. So that's kind of where I'm at with this Thunder roster. That's part of your season preview. Again, we have Joe Mazzato coming up on Friday, Andrew Schlecht on Thursday, our live show Thursday at 2 p.m. Central. Saturday, we're going to recap that Nuggets game. Monday, we're giving you our full season preview. We're going standings. We're going awards. We're going playoff bracket. We're doing it all on Monday and on Tuesday, leading you into the banner night and ring night, a staple here at Locked On Thunder, the best, worst, and most likely case scenario for the Oklahoma City Thunder this season. All that's coming up, so make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Thunder on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts from, and make sure you're an everydayer. We have stickers for you at games if you're an everydayer, so just make sure you come up and see me. I'll give you a sticker. I appreciate you listening. I hope that you listen throughout the season every single day. Until next time, be good and be good to one another.